forest like SACF is vital for the local community.
I think one of the critical forests in Malaysia is the Shah Alam Community Forest.
Saya sekarang berada di rimba komuniti Shah Alam.
The Shah Alam Community Forest was part of the original Bukit Ceraka Forest Reserve. It was gazetted in the year 1909.
The story of the temuan itself always related to the jungle. So Shah Alam Community Forest, this is where our temuan people live, and they use this forest as a customary land.
100 years ago, the planners already had this idea to reserve part of the forest, permanent forest reserves. And one of these forest reserves is actually Bukit Ceraka.
Right in the middle of the city, basically right in the middle of Shah Alam City.
Some people are here just for fun, some people are here to exercise, and some people come here to learn about the forest.
每一个星期我都有来这边，大概有3次这样啦。
already have enough cities and buildings in Shah Alam. We need some forests too.
I like to come to the forest with my kids to provide a fun way to give them some exercise. It also enhances their imagination. These are some of the things they cannot learn in a classroom setting. And this forest is also very easily accessible. It's also free for everybody to come.
If people have forest patches like this in their backyard, they can learn about forests, they can learn to appreciate them, they can learn to understand them, they can learn about the wildlife and the ecology. You learn to see how it all works together.
So Malaysia as a country has signed up to the global United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and there are 17 SDGs. One of it is the need to look into and cater for human health and human well-being.
You can see I'm so happy every time I go to the forest.
Saya selalu datang ke hutan ini seminggu dalam 2 kali untuk exercise.
Kita orang ni daripada Alam Budiman dan memang kebiasaan kita orang kalau hiking memang hiking kat sini.
Suasana yang agak segar, yang memang susah kita nak dapat di tengah-tengah bandar. So jadi harapan saya harap kerajaan janganlah ambil untuk digondolkan ke, untuk buat pembangunan ke. Saya rasa tempat ini patut dikekalkan.
I'm actually very interested in plants, so I go around and I look at different plant species at the Shah Alam Community Forest. And it's just a shame to see so many forests being cut down for new developments that perhaps we don't even really need. And with all the forests gone, well, we won't have just all this beautiful biodiversity that we need in the world.
I was formerly working in the property industry for the last 30 years, and I realized that there's an oversupply of property, that seeing so many unsold or unoccupied property. As far as the developer is concerned, they can actually build houses on the flat ground rather than taking away the beautiful hills that has so much to offer to the people here.
I come here at night to observe frogs, lizards and snakes.
Bukit Ceraka, incredibly, still have amazing wildlife.
And I did some studies here with other colleagues, other scientists. A forest patch like this, which is only about 171 hectares, small as it may sound, supports 22 species of mammals, 5 kinds of primates. Very rarely can you find the pigtail macaque, the long-tailed macaque, the gibbon, the slow loris, the dusky langur, all living in one area. 227 species of birds recorded, and that includes the oriental pied hornbill and the black hornbills. We have hornbills in a patch like this. And then we have lots of reptiles. There's about 27 kinds of freshwater fish found in the small streams in this forest. Amazing, yeah?
Apa yang kami tahu, hutan ini hendak dibangunkan dan kami amat bimbang dengan perkara ini sebab ini bakal menyebabkan kehilangan satu-satunya aset ataupun khazanah kami di setiap alam.
We studied these maps of the forest reserve and we found that Bukit Ceraka Forest Reserve is still conserved. The Shah Alam Community Forest is still part of the reserve.
Pihak kerajaan negeri sincere, okay, ikhlas dan jelas akan pendirian kita untuk mengekalkan hutan simpan di seluruh negeri Selangor.
Semasa Majlis Bandaraya Shah Alam mengadakan sesi pertemuan dengan orang yang mempertikaikan apa yang mereka nak lakukan. Mereka tayangkan video betapa sensitifnya MBSA terhadap alam sekitar, terhadap hutan ya. Tetapi bila dilihat kepada tindakan mereka tidak sama dengan apa yang mereka ingin tonjolkan kepada orang ramai. Jadi dalam cadangan MBSA 2035, mereka hendak adakan satu jalan yang merentasi hutan komuniti Shah Alam ini. Jadi ini akan memisahkan hutan utara dan hutan di sebelah selatan. Bila ada infrastruktur begini, binatang tidak boleh berpindah randah antara utara dan selatan, selatan ke utara. Apa akan terjadi? Mereka berpasangan antara bilangan yang kecil, maka diversity genetiknya akan berkurangan dan lama kelamaan seperti manusia juga, jika manusia asyik kahwin dengan sepupunya sahaja, maka akan ada penyakit genetik. Lama kelamaan boleh pupus, kehidupan liar boleh pupus.
The state government of Selangor has actually said that they have issued land titles and therefore the area has been degazetted. But what we are saying is that the area has not been degazetted under the due process, under the law itself. So which means that whatever titles that they have given out, they have actually in effect they've given it out illegally. And the right thing that should be done right now is for the state government to take back those titles. For a degazettement to take place, it has to go through a proper process under the Forestry Act.
It is particularly disturbing when we see the government actually trying to change the status of these areas. There have been private titles given out inside the forest reserve, which is against the National Land Code.
If you look here, you can see how the forests have been removed to build this road, destroyed, and as a result, water started pooling, and you can see all the dead trees. So this is part of Bukit Cheraka Forest Reserve. A couple of years back, where this road here was built to connect Shah Alam to Alam Budiman. And Bukit Cheraka is one of the last known habitat for the tapir, the Malayan tapir, which is an endangered species. Ever since this forest was encroached, we have over 10 tapirs, perhaps more, that were killed crossing the road.
So it is the government's duty to protect our natural resources for the future generation. In fact, it's their fiduciary duty to do this.
Save our forests! Save our forests! Save our forests!
Jika kerajaan Selangor tidak prihatin kepada kehendak rakyat dan lebih penting pengundi Selangor ini, mereka mesti berjaga-jaga, mereka mungkin ditendang keluar.
To ensure that we have a future, that would mean that to make sure that our forests are intact, left undisturbed, and stop degazetting them.
Do you know why the forest is so important? If we destroy the forest, means we are destroying ourselves, because when the forest chopped down, there's not much trees anymore and plants. So there's not much oxygen. We need oxygen, so the forest is good.
They take in carbon dioxide, they sequester carbon. And that's very important because the standing biomass, they lock the carbon inside. Otherwise, all the CO2 goes into the atmosphere and then, as we know, creates the greenhouse, the warming effect. Imagine for a country like Malaysia with very high rainfall, what would happen if we had lost a forest like this?
There were flash floods because the water really quickly ran off all of the houses and into the drains. This is quite different from when there's heavy rainfall in a natural forest, because the forest acts as a sponge and it protects the streams from the runoff being too fast.
And like a sponge, it slowly releases the rain through transpiration into the streams, and that helps balance the hydrological cycle, how water is being managed.
When we're looking forward in the future in terms of climate change, we need to start seriously thinking about the value of forests as being natural protection for the environment.
So forest has a very vital, important ecosystem service to all of us human beings. In that it regulates climate, it manages the hydrological cycle, it ensures that we have a good environment, it ensures that we have oxygen to breathe, and it takes up all our carbon dioxide and creates one of the most important things, spaces for us to recreate.
So we can find other places to build our houses and our infrastructure. But if we lose this forest, we won't be able to get it back. So I really value Shah Alam Community Forest because it's quite a significant patch of forest in this area.
It would be such a shame if we lost the potential to teach the younger generation of Malaysians about the rainforest at our very doorstep.
The forest is a very important place for all of us to come in and recreate, to revitalize ourselves, to rejuvenate our minds and our souls.
I never thought, so-called civilized society thinking want to destroy the forest. It's unacceptable. It's so irresponsible by the government of Selangor. For our human beings that live in this planet, we need together to protect the environment, especially a forest near the city.
Hutan komuniti itu adalah hutan saya, hutan anda, hutan rakyat.
SACF deserves to be protected because it has immense value to everyone that lives around the Klang Valley.
I love Shah Alam Community Forest. Let us save the forest together.
Marilah kita sama-sama berusaha untuk menyelamatkan rimba komuniti Shah Alam ini untuk kita semua dan sebagai warisan kepada anak cucu kita di masa hadapan.
Bersama-sama kita selamatkan Shah Alam Community Forest.
Save Shah Alam Community Forest.
Save our forest! Save our forest! Save our forest! Save our forest!
We need to save it together. We need to stick together. We need to save this forest together. Save Shah Alam Community Forest together.
让我们大家一起来爱护这片森林，保护它 ，save 它。
நம்ம இந்த சத்தியாலம் மக்கள் அனைவரும் இல்லை தமிழ் மக்கள் அனைவரும் வந்து ஒற்றுமையாக எல்லா இன மக்களும் வந்து ஒற்றுமையாக வந்து நம்ம இந்த ஃபாரஸ்ட்டை வந்து பாதுகாக்கணும். ஸோ அதுக்கு உங்களோட ஒத்துமை எல்லாத்துக்கும் ரொம்ப முக்கியம். நன்றி வணக்கம்。
那么我希望大家都可以合作团结一起来保护这个地方，来保护这个森林，这个山。
Everyone help us and save Shah Alam Community Forest, please.
Save Shah Alam Community Forest.